These guys are hungry. You bring money to them, they will collect. So how about we now saying no more giving of money? If we catch you giving money, you are inducing these voters, and that's now a criminal offense.
The president you see today was once a boy in a room. It was probably from the things he saw, the way he was schooled. He wasn't born corrupt. He came to this world and learned. Corruption is learned. If you can learn corruption, I believe you can actually unlearn it.
Welcome to episode 6 of Reactions. My name is Mr. Sal, and with me here today reacting to all the national pressing issues of the week is Mr. Houston. Mr. Henry is not here today, obviously, but we hope he will be able to join us next week. So, Mr. Houston, how has your week been? Every week I'm always asking, how's your week been?
Oh, yes, my week has been good. It's been quite eventful, and I'm grateful to God. Above all, I'm grateful to God that things have been going as planned. At least this week, even though we've not got to hear so many good news as we expect, but at least the president is back, and I think that's something to.
The president is back, so we have to be grateful with that president.
Yes, we have to be grateful for
at least he's fine, he's healthy.
He's healthy, and at least he'll be able to at least heat, or hopefully heat to our
hopefully.
plight.
Even if he said we should expect continuity. That's what he said. So in my mind, I'm like, continuity of what? What are we continuing?
Yes, because they told us they told us the same thing in 2019 when they said continuity. A lot of people thought it was, well, I mean, what did they even say? What's the agenda? 4x4.
Okay, there was change. Then the new one is next level. Next level.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
the next level so far has been very hard.
So next level of that change that we saw. So that's crazy. So I'm just going to move to the first topic we're going to be reacting to today. So one of the major problems we have had since the inception of democracy in Nigeria in 1999 is rigging of elections. Rigging of elections is done in several ways, which include but not limited to ballot box snatching and voter inducement with cash or food or material items. I think we're very familiar with all those. So as a way to reduce or eradicate rigging of elections in Nigeria, former President Goodluck Jonathan, speaking on Monday in an interview on COAS TV network, said that giving of cash and foodstuffs by politicians or other proxies to voters during elections should be made a criminal offense like in some African countries. He said, and I quote, "The problem we have in Nigeria is the use of money to induce some voters. Compared to other African countries, we spend too much money here. Probably we need to review our laws because I have observed a number of elections in African countries. For instance," that's him continuing here, he said, "in Tanzania, a candidate does not need to print his name on matchbox or any item to woo voters. If you do that, they say that you are inducing the electorate. It is against their laws in Tanzania." So he goes on to say, but here, if somebody is contesting elections, you buy bags of rice, wrappers, all manner of items to induce the electorate. Ordinarily, our electoral laws are supposed to frown on such practices. That's what the former president is saying. So he goes on to conclude here. If you do that, you are supposed to be disqualified from contesting in the election. So these are the things that make our elections expensive. I think if young people are willing, things should begin to change. So former President Goodluck Jonathan basically is saying this thing about voter inducement. I think earlier this week, there was a case of Tinubu having his face or campaign for 2023 on bags of rice already, which he has debunked. He said it's not part of all those anyway. But former President Goodluck Jonathan is coming out to say right now that this thing where politicians come out to give out wrappers, to give out onions, even small cash, that they should make it criminal in Nigeria. He's thinking that doing so will help us reduce rigging of elections in the country. So what do you think about that? What do you think about this suggestion? Do you think that could help us, have free and fair elections in any way? I know we also have ballot snatching, but if we could achieve this one and voters could go there and vote their conscience without getting any gift from any candidate or their proxies, do you think that will help us, in having free and fair elections under the so-called democracy that we actually practice?
I've always advocated voter education, and this is actually one of my reasons for advocating voter education. Now, it is not entirely the people's fault for accepting those things and doing good by those people who give them these incentives. This goes to let you know that the people are a lot more honest than the politicians. Now, the people's honesty is being exuded in their ability to take gifts in promise of their votes. So they most times go back and vote to these people
because they could take those gifts
yes,
and not vote
and
for them.
That's to tell you the common man's honesty. So this is what they know, that every 4-year time they will come out and they expect gifts. As a matter of fact, now they've gone beyond asking if they will get or how much they will get to who will give what and who wouldn't give this year, and who gives more and who gives less. So this goes a long way to let you know how backward we are, how poorly educated the people are. And when I'm talking about the people, it's the grassroots. Because take banks, for instance. It is not the 1 billion naira that actually makes banks rich. It is not. That's not what grows a bank's reputation. It's the common man's 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira. So that's the same thing with elections. It's the people at the grassroots, the people at the villages and all these rural areas. These are the people that need to be really educated, because we're supposed to have representatives in Abuja. We're supposed to have representatives. We're supposed to have senators. We're supposed to have local government representatives, or what they call them, chairmen, for the 774 local governments in the country. But come to think of it, how close are these people, these representatives, to the people that they represent? How close are they to these people for them to be able to even know the people's plights, to know what the people's cries are? So it is left for those of us. It's a job that we, the educated ones in this country, and this is a message to every educated person in this country. It's left for us who have seemingly, because talking about education right now, we don't even need tertiary education, just basic education, to let those people, those are our mamas and papas and our little ones in rural communities, know that, look, this is what is going on out there. These people do not have your interest at heart. They have their interest at heart. So even when they bring, in 4-year time, they bring bags of rice with their images on top, and they bring, wrappers and the rest of them, it's not for your good. They bring the goods for you, for their own good. Literally, that's what it is. So it is left for us. This is the work I've been telling you that's to be done by not necessarily the elite, but everybody who's been privileged to attain a certain level of education, to teach those. We need a common voter education, because this is corruption. Trust me, this is corruption. Yeah. And it has come to a point where when the politicians who aren't doing this, we look at them as unserious people. The politicians who are
the ones that are not giving.
Yes, the ones who are not giving these incentives. We look at them as unserious people in Nigeria right now. Like, imagine you have Mr. A coming out to give this, promising to water you and fire you and all these things, and you have Mr. B who's saying, this is not the way to go. This is not how my campaign will be run. I will do the right things when I'm elected in office and all that. When the people hear such, what do? It's a typical example of students, recalcitrant students, saying, we will not buy any textbooks that you force upon us, or that's been forced upon us by a lecturer. We will not buy these textbooks. We're going to use our head. We're going to use the ones we have, the ones our parents can afford, to write these exams, and we'll pass. And some other student saying, I don't want this lecturer's problem, I'm going to buy this textbook. When the lecturer starts marking, he doesn't use, first of all, the lecturer has lost his standard at that point. The corrupt lecturer, in quote. Now, the corrupt lecturer has lost his standards. He's lost his morals at this point. I mean, at the point of marking. So what his parameter for judging a good student at this point is those of them who are obedient enough to pay for whatever it is, or to buy those textbooks, even though they weren't even necessary for that particular cause. He was just trying to make extra cash. So that's exactly what it's like now. That's what the people now look at now. The people are like, Mr. A brought food. He brought noodles to us. He brought this thing to us. And Mr. B is saying he's not going to do this because this is not the right way. Mr. B, you're not serious. So we need to reorient these people. We need to rewire their thought process, how these people see, how they perceive manifestos and campaigns. That's the work I think we need to do.
But what Goodluck is saying right now, I get where you're coming from. You've had this argument before,
yes.
And we know it's going to be a very difficult task to do this education, this voter education, going to talk to these people in the grassroots, convincing them not to accept these proposals, these gifts when they are being given. So Goodluck Jonathan is saying right now, instead of doing all those, let's make a law to criminalize this act. Let's make this a criminal offense, like he has said in Tanzania. So don't you think that would be a right step to take?
Yes.
Rather than going all the way to talk to people and convince them, because these guys are hungry. You bring money to them, they will collect. So whether they vote for you or they don't vote for you, that's another ball game. You bring rappers to them, they collect. So how about we now say, okay, no more gifts, no more rappers, no more giving of money. If we catch you giving money, you are inducing these voters, and that's now a criminal offense. Do you think that could help us? I think that will help us in Nigeria, though.
Mr. Sal.
Because where we're going to right now, how do you go to these streets to talk to these people? That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Sal, now, I'll explain to you what my point exactly is.
Yeah.
My point with this whole issue now with ratifying a law, first of all, we're Nigerians. How many laws have been ratified in Nigeria, and how many of them?
That's another ball.
Yes, and how many laws have actually been implemented? It's not just ratifying these laws; it's about implementing them. How many of these things? I was privy to a conversation once, and with a police officer, and he said something I remember fervently well. This was in 2015. He said, "After God for this country, now president." That was a very powerful statement he made. Because even if he didn't know the gravity of what he said, if the president is aware of something like that, we don't know the extent to which it could go. Yeah. So if these laws are being ratified by this same government, this same politicians, you think they will really be followed? You think they'll be followed through? Now, that's one thing. Another thing, again, is you are a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. Yeah. So you're a legal practitioner, and there's always a way. I'm not trying to glorify corruption, but there's always a way people bend these laws. If you say, do not give this and this incentive because it will be termed as corruption. All they simply will do is keep it in their houses and let the people know where to come and get it. If the people come in there and get it by themselves.
That's why I said proxies as well. So if you cannot give and your proxies cannot give, for example, now, you could
simply open a warehouse and everybody goes in there. There's somebody who is unofficially a politician or a political stooge. He's just in that house, and his job is to take down names of people or give these things out without. They don't even need to take down names. Give these things out to the people when they come. And if everybody knows that Houston's warehouse is where it is happening, now there where the thing is up. Yeah. What do you think will happen? Nobody will arrest me.
During elections, you're doing that. We can arrest you based on this law. Yeah, because why are you giving up? But the problem I had with this the problem I really had with this one, how do you determine the timeline? How do you determine, because is that going to stop normal humanitarian services? Because some of these politicians do the good ones though, they help the poor sometimes, so what if I'm running for office, but at the same time, I really want to do something sincerely for my people.
Oh, yes.
How do you determine whether that is voter inducement or not? So those are the lapses I'm seeing with this right now. And is there going to be like a timeline as the politician contesting for office when you should not give out gifts? And you're saying right now, I could use my proxies. Yeah, how do they determine that those are my proxies as well? So I'm seeing the loopholes, but I still feel it could be a step in the right direction. But you raised up the argument right now, who's going to implement it, which is still a problem because it's the same politicians that are in office. Yeah.
You know why most times when questions like this and why when scenarios like this play out, why I always come up with my voter education theory is because we live in a society where it's like one man makes the law and that same person flouts the law. And nobody says anything because he, as far as is concerned, is the democracy we speak, the democracy we yearn for, the democracy we say he's above the law, he's everything.
That's the
Do you understand?
problem.
So in a country like that, most times, as far as I am concerned, I look at the morals of the people. The government is a structure in the society, and the society, the nucleus of every society is the family. So most times for me, I target the families. Now you ask the question, how can we locate these people? How do we, how do we talk to them? How did it go around to the local areas? How did it go down that far? It was airborne, but then people had to be educated. There were people that didn't know what coronavirus was. I went into some very local areas and I had people playing with it. I mean, there were skits online where we heard kids mispronouncing the coronavirus and called it all funny names and people laughed. But what I'm trying to say is, either ways, by and large, everyone understands what coronavirus right now is. So if we take corruption sensitization or anti-corruption sensitization, if we take it that serious, I think it will go as far as the local areas, the grassroots and the people at the rural areas. It will go that far if we take it.
So you think that would be better than implementing a law? So you think we rather educate the people
we will implement a law, but first I think we need to speak to the people's morals first, because why I'm saying this is the boy you see, the politician you see today, or the president you see today was once a boy in a room, was once a lowly, humble boy in one room. It was probably from the things he saw, the way he was schooled. He wasn't born corrupt. It was he was born probably into corruption, or he came to this world and learned. Corruption is learned. It's like tribalism and racism. It is learned. Yeah. So he came to see this thing. So if you can learn corruption, I believe you can actually unlearn it. It looks like a similarly difficult process, but I think if we start right in time, if we start as early as we're already talking about 2023, if we start as early as we're already talking about good governance, if we start educating people right now, I think it'll go a long way.
Okay. That's very fair. I think I understand your argument. So we can implement the law, but we still need to do sensitization. Yeah, we need to educate the voters. So let me move to the next topic. So the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, on Monday said that he did not become the governor of the state to be paying workers' salaries, arguing that the state is very broke and that government workers can no longer be consuming more than 90% of the state's resources monthly. The governor was responding to the backlash he was facing on the social media. Governor El-Rufai said that he was elected to promote equality of opportunity, to build and run schools and hospitals, upgrade infrastructure, and make the state more secure and attractive to the private sector for jobs and investments. So you've heard about the massive sack that has gone on in Kaduna State. So Governor El-Rufai said it is not his responsibility or the government's responsibility to pay workers' salaries, arguing that he's there to secure the state, build infrastructure, and other developments. So there are two things I want to look at here. What do you think about the move by the governor? And also, do you think it's the responsibility of government to provide jobs for its people? Because my take here, I'm not just going to speak generally for government, but I will speak specifically to Nigeria because we have a peculiar situation here. So normally, I don't think it's the responsibility of government to provide jobs for the people. I think it's the responsibility of the government to provide an enabling environment, for investment to come in, either locally or from foreign direct investment. Those are like foreign multinational companies coming in to invest. So the role of the government is to create a secure state have great incentives that can make these investors want to come in, because when these investors come in, they automatically create jobs. So, but when Governor El-Rufai is coming right now to say it is not the responsibility of the Kaduna State government, looking at Kaduna State right now, to provide jobs for these people, the question I asked him, have you done all it takes to make Kaduna State an attractive state for investors to come in and provide these jobs for these people? Because if you have not done all those, he talked about securing the state. He said that this is one of the things that he was elected to office to do, but you have not secured the state based on everything we see every day. So I don't think he has the right to come out to say right now that, oh, he doesn't care about these people. Because if these people are fired right now, what are they supposed to do? You're already dealing with insecurity and you're putting more families out there. There are no jobs, there's nothing for them. I think he can expect more insecurity, in my opinion. So I don't know what you think about the move by Governor El-Rufai, then addressing whether you feel it is the role of government to actually provide jobs for its people. Yeah.
What's going on in the country right now, especially in the north, is looking a lot more like, daily it begins to look more like a conspiracy. I'll tell you why I think it's a conspiracy, because everything is just happening at a very, very, very wrong time. I wouldn't say there's a right time for anyone to lose jobs, but how do you say it is not your responsibility to pay salaries? The question you're asking me is completely different from what he said. He said it is not his responsibility to pay salaries, not to create jobs. But now let's take, for instance, what you asked.
To pay salaries.
Yes, but let's take job creation, for instance. If you, as an elected personality, as an elected person or someone holding public office, if you are able to create a conducive environment for industries to come in and for employment by other industries or other firms, your job is just to create a conducive environment, which clearly he hasn't done. Isn't that invariably creating jobs?
Yeah.
Yes, because on your campaign,
in that context,
yes, because during your campaign, I've not seen a politician in this Nigeria who can go back and search for all their tapes. There's always one thing they campaign with: we will create jobs. We will create jobs, because we know with the growing population in Nigeria, with the growing unemployed population in Nigeria, it's alarming enough for people to use it as campaigns. And when you can't.
The problem with that, we will create jobs, I think that's very ambiguous. They don't say how they will create jobs.
They don't
say, just come out and say we will create jobs. And most people are thinking in their head that you will employ us.
Which is what I'm saying. Yeah. It is creating a conducive environment for industries to come in. I mean, we had the people that make Peugeot in Kaduna before now. I don't know if they're still there. I think they came in recently. Governor El-Rufai inaugurated a new factory or something like that some years back, 2-3 years back. If you're able to create a conducive environment for these industries, these foreign industries to come in, you've invariably created jobs. So now let's talk about paying salaries. If it's your job to fire 4,000 people, why do you think it's not equally your job to pay salaries? That means these people were once government employees. There's no government without employees. I have not seen any government anywhere in the world without employees. Yeah. So if you have employees, it is also your duty to pay salary. If you are saying as a governor that it is not your duty, and this is not to besmirch the image of the governor of Kaduna State, this is just me being practical and thorough with what I'm saying. If you say as a governor that it is not your duty to pay salaries, you're not there to pay salaries, then I don't think you should be there in the first place. Because what are your basic duties? Create security. Has the state been secure? We've had so many things.
That's where I countered him now.
We've had things go on in the states over and over and over, and this is insecurity in its highest in the states. And you didn't create a secure environment. You didn't create a conducive environment for industries to come in. So what now is your job? What now is your job? It's not your job to pay salaries. You see, sometimes the way the government
say things... They complain that 90% of the state's allocation is going to the payment of these workers' salaries. I don't know how true that is though, but that's what he said. And he said the state is broke. So he said it's a very painful decision, but he had to take this decision. I don't know what his plans are for those monies though, so the 90% of the money that he has saved right now by firing these people, he has not said what he intends to do with the money.
He said clearly, his duties were to promote equality of opportunity. I don't know what these opportunities are if they are not job creation. To build, I don't know who will walk inside. I don't know who is expected to function in a building without a job. So people just walk through infrastructure. Okay. Yeah. Run schools. These schools are going to be run with money. People are going to be paid with human beings. Hospitals. The doctors have been on strike. Aren't you going to pay them? Aren't these workers? So, I don't know who gets to advise the government most times. I don't know who they hire to advise them. But there is really a lot of blunder whenever they speak. Whenever government personalities say things, sometimes you wonder, there's a lot of blunder in what they say. I don't know if they're saying it to gain support or to, stake their claim or whatever it is. I don't know why they say the things they say, but sometimes the things they say are very hurtful. They're very, very hurtful to the Nigerian people because people went out of their way. You saw grandmothers and grandfathers going out to vote to these people thinking they are not necessarily the solution, but the means to usher in the solution. Because we've not looked at any human being, anybody, any politician in this country and say, this is our solution. No. We believe voting you is because we believe you are going to usher in the solution. So you can't be there for 8 whole years, and you will not be able to implement something we can actually say. They always talk about infrastructure. It's human beings first. It's human beings.
And we're in the pandemic, the economy has been suffering.
Exactly.
So are you putting these things above human beings right now, above families?
Are you putting infrastructure above families?
People are like heads of families.
People will eat before they will function in any infrastructure.
Building anything. What are they building?
So what are you building?
What schools? What hospitals? So that's why I said I don't know what his plans are for those monies. Because for you to sacrifice those families for whatever, the plans you have to be more important.
Who pays the governor?
The federal government.
The federal government
every month.
The federal government doesn't pay the government. The federal government gives
every month.
Yes, the federal government gives the monthly statutory allocation to the state, and the governor pays himself. Basically, yes.
Yeah, but from the money he gets from the federal government.
Yes.
So they determine.
So as he pays himself because he's a worker. He's the number one person in the state. He's a worker. He's a public servant. He's a worker. So he pays himself. And every laborer, even the Bible says a laborer deserves his pay. He deserves his wage. Every laborer deserves their wage. So him coming out to say it is not his duty to pay salaries after firing about 4,000 people.
Yeah.
I think it is appalling. It is very appalling. And we will continue to tell them how appalling.
Yeah, they don't listen. Like he faced so much backlash on Twitter, and that's when he came out to defend his actions. And
all these things still boil down to morals that I'm talking about. It still boils down to moral because you cannot continue to say what you're doing is wrong. You are corrupt. You are this. You are that every day without talking to these people's soul. Because I think for me, I've gotten past where we will complain and talk, and this government will just look at us and say this is where it ends. Now I don't know. I don't know if we will have to talk to the spirit man of these people because it is beyond.
How do you talk to the spirit man of these people? Because someone like me, I'll be like, okay, when you take these actions, let's assume that you're ignorant, so you take these actions, but when you see the backlash, you should rethink about it.
It is
rethink the move.
Yes.
And see that, okay,
that's it. That's the moral.
Affect people like this. Maybe I should reverse this and have another plan. You don't even have a plan for these people.
That's the moral uprightness I'm talking about.
Salaries, we could have understood better rather than just cutting off their source of livelihood.
And for years, everyone has been talking about public servant salaries. That's where the problem is coming from. And this is just.
Yeah.
And you're firing people, you're making people lose their jobs. People should be the politicians should be able to, not politicians now, these are public servants, they should be able to ask themselves questions, rethink things.
Now.
They should be able to rethink these decisions because putting 4,000 people out of work in this time, I don't know what he's trying to breed, if he's not trying to breed another set of criminals.
I'm shocked though that there was no protest. Nobody rebelled.
Well,
nobody riled up. Everybody just goes home to sit down. So at the end of the day, do we still blame the government people or do we blame the people? 4,000 people could have staged a massive protest.
The government is
and I believe they could have had supporters to join them as well. But you keep treating Nigerians like this and we go home to go and sit down. So are we not enabling? They talk about enablers. Are we enabling these politicians to keep behaving the way they behave?
We're not enabling them.
Are you sure?
We're not enabling them. You also need to take certain factors into consideration. We are presently at a time where we are under a particular administration that has suppressed public opinion, suppressed or torture the people, that are torturing the people with fear. There's so much. This country is tensed up. People are tensed up. There's pent up anger everywhere, but then only a few can actually express this anger, externalize their actual feelings. So there's so much going on in the country right now, and if people do not protest, you will not necessarily ask them why. Nobody wants to be an example. But it's not because it's not as a means to enable the government. We're like, I believe the people right now are the point, and also it's the north. The fasting, this is the fasting season.
Yeah.
So there's so much going on right now that how do you expect these people to protest?
Just go home and sit down.
Even protest, people eat during protests. People eat. These guys, we're talking about money, we're talking about livelihood. They don't even have any.
Wow.
Where do they start this protest from?
Anyway, let's move on. Hopefully, those families or those workers that were sacked can find something better to do. I just feel bad for those families, to be honest. So there were various reactions this week on Twitter as to why Twitter situated its first office in Africa, in Ghana, instead of Nigeria, which many argued has more active users on the micro-blogging site. So they say Nigeria has more users on Twitter, and they took their headquarters to Ghana. So responding, Twitter said that it chose Ghana over other African countries, including Nigeria, because as a champion for democracy, this is the quote they wrote here, they said, as a champion for democracy, Ghana is a supporter of free speech, online freedom, and the open internet, of which Twitter is also an advocate. So after this happened, there was so much backlash on Twitter from various Nigerians. Then the Minister of Information came out to speak. So reacting to this statement, the statement by Twitter, and also the move by Twitter to have its African head office in Ghana. So Lai Mohammed came out to blame this on the bad behavior of some Nigerians. So I'm just going to read what he said here. So he said the natural expectation would have been for Nigeria to be the hub for Twitter, especially in this part of Africa, even with the fact that we have 25.4 million Twitter users in Nigeria against 8 million users in Accra. That's the capital of Ghana. So clearly the decision was not a commercial and business one. That's what the Minister of Information is saying. Then it goes on to say, but I think Twitter has the prerogative and the exclusive right as to where to site its headquarters. But I hope this will serve as a lesson to Nigerians. This is what you get when you demarket your own country. So he's blaming Nigerians right now. This will teach a lot of us a lesson that we have no country other than Nigeria. You can imagine the kind of job opportunities based on what we're talking about right now, FDI, foreign direct investment. You can imagine the kind of job opportunities that citing the headquarters in Nigeria would have created, the kind of visibility it would have given Nigeria, but we destroyed it. It is what the insiders say about their country that the outsider will use to judge and condemn the country. So this is what Lai Mohammed has to say. First of all, Mr. Houston, what did you think on your own? Personally, what did you think about Twitter taking their African headquarters to Ghana instead of Nigeria? Like many Nigerians have argued, no, it should have been here, it could have been here. But we just talked about the role of government right now in terms of providing jobs, where you have to make your country attractive to bring these foreign investment, to bring these foreign investors. So we have Twitter right now that intentionally sidelined Nigeria. They knew exactly what they were doing because they could have easily come here, but they saw the NSAS protest. They know about the insecurity in Nigeria, the Boko Haram and everything, but the government right now is not even taking responsibility. Now they have blamed it on the people that go on Twitter to condemn the government.
Firstly, I would like to commend Jack Dorsey for taking the headquarters of Twitter to Ghana. Secondly, I would also like to congratulate the Ghanaians for a plus to their economy because that's a huge move.
Yeah.
And it's for me, it's very welcome. I'm okay. I'm very, very okay because I think you were just talking about minutes ago, you're talking about protests.
Yeah. But
I think
why
why
are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it because the people have spoken internally. We've externalized our feelings in this country. We've let the government, every day we call them, we draw their ear in. We've done everything we want to do. Minutes ago, you were talking about protest. Why the people in Kaduna didn't protest. We've come to a point where we will not necessarily speak by word of mouth anymore. It's now going to be spoken by action. And not just action from us, it's going to be action from external powers. Now, this is the United States now telling the American government, the Nigerian government rather, look at what you're doing. This is Twitter now telling the Nigerian government, look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
from Twitter statements you could tell.
Yes. So this is them telling the Nigerian government what we have always told them.
The government is not even seeing it like that.
No,
so
let me tell you something.
It's one thing for you to tell somebody something, but it's one thing for them to understand what you're telling them. Because
you know one thing
has come right now to say, "Oh, it's you guys' fault right now."
Do you know one thing I've been able to? Do you know one thing I've been able to pick out from this administration?
Wow.
This administration between 2015 and now, one thing I've been able to pick out from this administration is damage control. You're a journalist and a lawyer, and you know what I mean. So damage control is something I've been able to pick out from this particular administration. And it is to be able to either shut your mouth when so much allegations are being thrown at you, or to send somebody who is actually very good at talking to come and find a way to bamboozle everything, bamboozle people. But exactly for the gullible ones. But one thing is for sure, no matter how much damage you're trying to control, you can't lie to yourself. It still boils down to morals and conscience. They know what the truth is. So whatever they come out and say to the people, the Nigerian people, it is your fault. Look at the things you have been spewing about Nigeria out there, blah, 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 blah. The owner of Twitter, the CEO of Twitter has already made his reasons known. And trust me, Jack Dorsey was being very polite by saying, freedom of speech. Nigeria doesn't encourage freedom of speech. That's why he didn't situate it. That's just one thing. He probably didn't want to talk about insecurity. Probably didn't want to talk about government chastisement and all these things that government will do to people, because it's common knowledge in Nigeria right now, especially in this administration, that when you say something, you're risking being picked up. For any reason, you say something here and somebody comes to pick you up. So you disappear. So this is something that used to be a thing of the past in Nigeria, and suddenly this administration brought it back. Now you say something, you get picked up. You get picked up by who? Wherever, I don't know, but you just get picked up. So Jack Dorsey would not want to be in the US and hear that his employees are being picked up because of something that's going on Twitter. In the last 4 to 3 years now in Nigeria, we've had the back and forth in the National Assembly with regards to shutting down social media or shutting down the internet entirely. I wonder how we expected. Even not just during elections, how they blamed the social media for everything that's going on. Somebody even said they blame social media for corruption. They've said all kinds of things in this country. Do you understand? I don't even know how you expected to run a 21st century country economy without social media or without the internet.
And if you're doing the right thing,
why would you be bothered about what people are saying?
Social media, because whatever good thing you're doing will be lauded there on the social media.
Take for instance, Amazon workers protested at some point, some years ago, I think in 2017 or so. They protested. They had this. It wasn't like a fiscal protest or whatever it was. They had a protest where they were all talking on the internet about how they were being treated poorly in Germany and all that. And the CEO of Amazon came out and addressed them. Jeff Bezos addressed them and said, look, if you don't want to work in Amazon, here is $5,000. Take it and leave. But there's a condition. When you take that $5,000, that's offered you, you will never, even in the future, if you have a change of mind that you want to work with Amazon, you'll never be able to work with Amazon. He wasn't scared. He didn't pick anybody up. This man has money to send whoever he wants to send to pick you up. But he never picked up anybody. Since the pandemic, we've heard all the conspiracy theories and all the allegations that's been thrown at Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a billionaire. This man could pick up anybody he wants to pick. He could make you disappear. Like in the Niger Delta, we'll say, then we'll find you. He could make you lost. But he's never picked up anybody. People say whatever they want. And nothing has been happening. These are powerful. These are the real powerful people in the world.
We heard about how AIT was shut down.
Exactly. But look, in Nigeria, you say something and you're being shut down. Jeff Bezos will not want to
see the way CNN was dragging
Jack Dorsey will not want to be Jack Dorsey will not want to be in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley sleeping one day and only to wake up and hear that his outlet in Nigeria has been shut down by the government. Why? Like sometimes I wonder if Nigeria is moving with the world. This is 2021 and government is still running stuff. How many countries do you hear that the government did this, the government did that?
Even the media.
You will hear about strikes, huge strikes.
Media here with NBC and whatnot.
Like imagine
on CNN, on Fox, they can say whatever
limit private networks to one network. Because that's the truth. We would think we have private networks in Nigeria. We have this one. Look, we just have one. We just have NBC.
Exactly.
That's just what we have.
They regulate everything.
You say something now, they tell you if you don't take it down in 24 hours,
we'll give you fine.
Government be giving you order like this is North Korea.
Shut you down, sir.
Like what?
They dared to shut down AIT. I was shocked.
So that's one. Another thing again is insecurity. If it's not the government, then it's probably bandits or whatever it is. Jeff Bezos will not want to be sleeping one morning and wake up to hear that cows entered inside Twitter HQ in Nigeria. Would you want to see that? Nobody wants to see that.
Or their staff were kidnapped and they're asking for ransom.
Exactly, and they're asking for ransom. Yeah. So Jeff Bezos was only being polite. He was only being polite by saying...
Jack Dorsey.
Sorry. Jack Dorsey, sorry. I don't know, this is billionaires. Yeah. So Jack Dorsey was only being polite by saying, what's it called? Free speech that's not being encouraged in Nigeria is one of the reasons why he didn't sit with his African or regional HQ here. So for me, I think if we talk to our fathers, if Henry Oqua were to be there, he will tell me not to address the government as our fathers. But then, whether you like it or not, they're
not dumb though. Like you said earlier, they know, but they play very manipulative.
Exactly,
and that's not fair.
Clearly, it's not fair. So if we talk to them, we tell them our plight, and they do not want to listen, then maybe outsiders will start telling them. And not with words of, not just by word of mouth, but by actions, by expensive actions.
By outsiders, we still end up suffering because if Twitter had come here, they would not employ the politicians. You know, they could have employed normal Nigerians, IT guys. So we are still suffering at the end of the day.
Trust me, it will get to the politicians. By the time they go for AU summit, and with all that the president of Ghana has been able to achieve, they give him a front seat and they send the Nigerian president to the back to watch the door for who's coming in. I think it will get to them. They say in hip hop they say every dog has his day, or in the Italian mafias will tell you every dog has his day. See, you will always have your day. That's the truth. I think you can't be at the corridors of power forever. A time will come where you will get to experience that thing that the common man experiences. One day you will go to AU summit and they will serve everybody. They'll serve every other country. They'll serve even Namibia. They'll serve Burundi before they serve the Nigerian president or the Nigerian representative. They will understand. Already it's happening with our international passport, how it's being rejected everywhere. So we're beginning to see all of these things. So don't worry. It's only a matter of time. It will get to everybody. And even those of them that think they have money, they can buy passports of other countries and do whatever it is they want. It will still get to them. You can't lie to yourself.
I think we need to get to a point, where our politicians, they are bragging rights among their circle when they sit down with their friends, fellow governors, fellow ministers, should be what they have done.
What they've achieved, yes.
What you've achieved. Why can't our conversations be like, okay, in my state, I have this, I have that. This one say in my state, I've done this, I've done that. I pray we get to that level. Because that will be something for us where everybody that is actually working will feel great, and those that are not working will feel less, and will be challenged to want to meet up with their colleagues. Because until we start having those type of conversations among the politicians, because when they meet, everybody's just talking about money.
That's
like you said, money is not everything. Why can't I boast that I have this in my state? I have this in my state, and you feel intimidated and you feel propelled to do better. or to do more.
That boils down to challenging success. They don't challenge their successes. They don't challenge themselves.
Yeah.
For instance, you find a governor meeting another governor. Most times I find it very fascinating when I see a governor meeting another governor. But when we see things like that happening in Nigeria, you probably see them dancing, or this one is showing this one the latest step. Like, I mean, the time we had Wike and Richards meeting each other, I would have expected maybe Wike to tell Richards, you didn't try your state, or something like that. This is what you did. Come to my state. Have you been to River State lately? Like, challenge.
See what I've done.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Challenge yourself ethically. Like, point out the things you've done in your state. They don't even challenge themselves.
Or when they meet,
themselves, they're like
together to better each state.
Yes.
Especially those that share borders and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know?
When they see themselves, they talk about campaign. How is the campaign going? How is the campaign going? And when the governor wins, you congratulate him because you're heralding him into money. You're like, welcome. You start eating money. Like, all these things are very unnecessary things. As far as I'm concerned, I'm yet to see the governor or the politician in Nigeria who I will call a success. I haven't seen anyone since the day I was born till this time. I haven't seen any. So I think they're all failures. Even those of them that have left government and they think they've left government, they did this, they did. I'm sorry, I can't call any of them a success. Now, talking about success, now I'm looking at it just like what you said, holistically. I'm not looking at an individual. I'm not looking at your individual success. If Donald Duke, His Excellency Donald Duke, had done something very nice in his state and he wasn't able to talk to his nearest neighbor, who the governor of Akwa Ibom State at the time, I think you're a failure, because you should be able to challenge these people. You do not. I know they will say, do we expect them to spoon feed these people or to force their hands to work? No, but I think if you turn your back on them, they will understand that look, they're not doing well. They're not doing well because the rich love to roll with the rich. The elite loves to roll with the elite. So if 3 governors in the southeast or 3 governors in the north are actually working, and they find one governor who isn't working, who isn't doing anything whatsoever, come try to sit in the same circle with them, they will stand up and walk away. Like, make rubbish of them. This will actually, like, the good governors should be able to shame the bad governors. Everybody, see,
this has nothing to do with political parties.
It has nothing to do with political parties.
Now it's all about APC, PDP.
It has nothing. It has nothing to do with political parties.
And who is not
working and who is not working.
Come to your state. We need to see what you have done. And these guys, I think they know.
It should be shameful. It should be shameful that some governors will want to go to Lagos and buy properties. The person running Lagos State is not a human being. Can't you make your state the hub? Or if you can't necessarily make your state like Lagos, because you say Lagos State has the wharf and all that. Okay, if you cannot make your state like Lagos State, why don't you make your state the hub of that region? If it's of that geopolitical zone, if it is the South, can't you make your state the hub of the South?
I think
the economic hub of the South.
Have a potential to make their states a hub for something.
Yes,
there's still opportunities already. There are so many grounds that have not been touched. You know, so Lagos is not even everything. It's to dream for.
It's Christmas. Everyone is running to Cross River State for Carnival. There's a show. An artist is coming. He's going to be staying in Lagos. Everybody's running to Lagos. Like, if I were governors, I would be ashamed. I'm not even joking. I would be ashamed that I have a property in Lagos when I'm from one other state somewhere else.
All right, let's move on. So there was some tension on Tuesday between the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Arms and Ammunition and the new Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru, following the investigation into the alleged looting of the $1 billion arms procurement funds by the Nigerian military under his immediate predecessor. So that's the issue here. Anyway, I'm just gonna rush through this. So there was a friction on Monday. Was that on Monday? Yeah, on Tuesday. You know, so they invited the new Chief of Army Staff to the House of Representatives. They're probing him on these 1 billion arms procurement funds that we've talked about before. So the Chief of Army Staff got angry during the probe and is saying right now, why are you guys probing me? I was not the Chief of Army Staff when these funds were disbursed. So he is asking the House of Reps right now to probe the former chief of army staff or the ones before him, including him, or whichever one was in power when this money was disbursed, which was Buratai anyway. So he went on to say, you may wish to recall that the chief of army staff took over the mantle of leadership barely 2 months ago. Issues of arms procurement that you so demand to know were done by specific individuals. I would rather you call these individuals to explain to you very specific issues. The general explanation is contained in this report. Yeah, so basically what he's saying right now, he doesn't understand why they're probing him. Me, I don't understand why he's being probed. Why can the House of Reps not invite the former chief of army staff? I know he has left power though, but when you leave power, you can still come and answer questions. Because in our earlier episode, we talked about this 1 billion funds, which the NSA said then could not be accounted for. It could not be found. They don't know where it is. And when the new guys came in, the new service chiefs came in, they could not find anything as well. So what do you think is playing out here with the House of Reps inviting the new chief of army staff instead of inviting the former chief of army staff whom they actually gave this money to account for this?
I think sometimes the National Assembly forget their position in this country, and they think it's probably go and sit down every Wednesday, and eat money and take allowance and walk away. They think that's what it is all about. They should understand that they represent the 774 local governments in this country. Yeah. They represent the 6 geopolitical zones. They are literally Nigeria. When they're speaking, it's literally Nigeria that's speaking.
Because all our representatives are
They're all there. And when anybody is being addressed, it is Nigeria that's addressing the person. And when the person is addressing the National Assembly, he should also know he's addressing Nigeria. So, firstly, I have to say, I have to talk about the Chief of Army Staff with all due respect. I think the Chief of Army Staff, I liked his response, but at the same time, I didn't like the delivery of his response. He made, he stated the obvious. He said what any intelligent person will say. But then there was some attitude to the whole thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, but that attitude, is it not natural? Because if I was in a position and you were inviting me to come and speak on something that has nothing to do with me, I will be a little bit agitated.
He spoke with so much authority, and in that house, there was supposed to be one authority.
Okay. Yeah.
Just standing before Nigeria. Do you understand what I mean? Exactly.
From.
So, to an extent, you could even see the lawmakers were a little bit...
Yeah, because at some point they asked you to apologize.
Yeah, they were a little bit petrified because, that was people were hailing all over the internet. People were singing the praise of the chief of staff, but it wasn't entirely that. Sometimes Nigerians do not understand what separation of powers really entail. I think it was an apology was in order. But then, now let's go back to the nitty-gritty of things. I think it was still very, very funny on the part of the National Assembly to be asking such question when the chief of army staff was being polite when he said a certain individual was in charge.
Yeah, specific
people were in charge, and you didn't do anything. And the funny thing is, this National Assembly actually confirmed this same person they're talking about, this same people they're talking about. You confirmed them as ambassadors. You did not ask all these questions. So sometimes, it's not like the system is fighting itself. Like, what are you doing?
I think that's the great question.
This is what
they're doing. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. This is what children will do, and you will bring them and lie them down.
It's like there's a script, and everybody is just acting.
Everybody's just acting out something.
That's what it looks like right now.
Because
some of the things don't make sense.
You had somebody leave a position without accountability. You had somebody sacked, or you had somebody relinquish a certain role because you weren't satisfied, or you felt it was due enough time for him to leave, and you did not ask these questions. You didn't even call him to say, bro, if you employ somebody and it's time for the person to leave, wouldn't you audit the person?
Exactly.
You have to audit the person and check his work, check his records. For crying out loud, you didn't do all of this.
To make sure you're not even running away with company properties and stuff.
To make things worse, it's not like you told this person, thank you for your services, and you've been relieved of your duty, and the person started running. This person was chilling. You even invited the person and said, come. I have something else to give to you.
Confirmed him. Because confirmation to me in a normal society means we see you worthy enough. You're doing a great job.
Yes.
Move on to this next position.
Yes. We deem you fit for this position.
The House of Reps is contradicting itself.
Exactly.
And you're putting it on another person.
So basically, I've actually watched. I've seen the screening of ambassadors in Nigeria. I was opportune to see the screening of the last set of ambassadors in 2016, I believe. I saw where ambassadors were being screened thoroughly. They even went through they did background checks on these people. They went to Code of Conduct Tribunal to do their assets declaration. So many things. There's like so much procedure, like lots of procedures. So you mean to tell me now that a chief of army staff, I'm not talking about Jeff Bezos, I'm not talking about Bill Gates, this is not a billionaire, this is not a cryptocurrency mogul, this is a public servant, a civil servant.
Yeah, but they don't see them like that together.
No. This is a civil servant. This is probably level 18, level 17. A director in civil service, because in the military, it is the same level. It's just military. In the military, he's level 17. He's a general. Or say a lieutenant general, level 18. A civil servant had so much money because he must have done the statutory asset declaration at CCB before becoming an ambassador. So you had screened his financial everything, and you didn't see it worthy enough for him to account for the money he has amassed between time, or to verify if he was declaring everything he had.
Question him about this.
You have not questioned him about anything, and you let him go as an ambassador. Now you are questioning his predecessor. Even though I said the National Assembly represents Nigeria, they are Nigeria. If the Chief of Army Staff had gotten the present Chief of Army Staff, General Attahiru, if he had slapped one of them there, it wouldn't have been so wrong because it's stupid.
Yeah.
There's something one of my big uncles says. He says, if you ask stupid questions, you get stupid answers.
Yeah, me, I don't like stupid questions.
If you ask stupid questions, you should get very stupid answers.
Let's make this thing very, very, let's bring it down. I employ you into a new job. You're coming in as like an editor. Then some files are missing that you never partook in editing.
I didn't know jack shit about these things.
To come and account for those files. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And it's even worse if you saw the person who was in my position. Yeah. You saw my predecessor, you sat down with him and dined with him.
Exactly. It's not like he escaped.
I
called him back.
I gave him another
position. Now I'm drilling you for something that happened under his watch. And I feel bad because you said these people represent Nigeria. But I think we have to make it clear that some of these people were not chosen by Nigerians to represent us.
You know what the truth is?
Yeah.
You know what the truth is?
Because I feel like
I told you before,
a choice to pick people to represent us.
I told you.
I don't think these are the people that we will pick to represent us.
I once provide the solution to corruption in this country, especially with regards to public service corruption. I've told you, I think we should be able to make, it's not this one where you build legislative quarters, after 4 years you sell it to people and all, that's bullcrap. See, I think we should build the next legislative quarters. It's going to be a compulsory statutory legislative quarters. We're going to build it in the center of the market, near Wuse Market or somewhere near Utako Market. Build it in the hub of the economic hub where the people that suffer when governance is good, when governance is bad, and the people who enjoy when governance is good. Build it near these people. Let the people see their representatives. Build these things near them. I don't sometimes when we talk, it's like we're talking to ghosts. It's like we're talking to some phantoms. You just sit down here and say, the minister of this, the minister of that. For the rest of your life, you are bound never to see. There's a very slim chance that you will ever even set eyes. That you ever set eyes on any of these people you're talking about.
They don't stay there.
They don't even stay there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
We should make it mandatory for you to stay.
Make it mandatory for them to stay because trust me, it is when we're able to see these people that will be the beginning of the end of corruption in this country. I am telling you. Take it anywhere. All this one will sit down and will write books and civil society organizations will come and write theories and all that. See, nobody's saying this thing I'm saying, but this is the reality of things. See, they say desperate situations require desperate measures. See, it has come to that time in Nigeria where the people need to be close to their representative.
We actually have to.
Just like a father is close to his son. When you pay your child school fees, let him go and carry last and come back to the house. You know what that situation is? That's exactly what we need to. When we send these people to represent us, and they go there and start making all these unnecessary political blunders, and they come back, then we'll drill them. Like, we're going to really, really, really talk to them. Like, we are, of course, I don't mean talk. We're going to really address these people.
Yeah, but realistically, though.
I'm being realistic.
How will this be?
Now, you see my point. You're saying realistically.
I'm looking at it in the big picture, in the bigger picture.
This is a big picture. What picture is bigger than what I've just drawn for you right now?
How do we achieve that, though? We talked about creating that place, making it compulsory for them to stay there. Who will make it compulsory? These people are the ones in power. Except there's going to be a change of system for a new set of people to implement some of these things that we're talking about.
Because every day we sit down
very shameful.
Because every day we sit down on all these television stations and we sit down and we analyze people. Like, it's funny sometimes how we sit down and we analyze human beings like us. Like, this is an individual. This is an independent individual with his own mindset, with how he thinks, how he's wired, with his own mannerism, with his own disposition. Do you understand? Yeah. We sit down here and we're analyzing it. We're like, it's like football. We're like, I'm sure that injury from the last match is the reason why Torres couldn't shoot that shot. Oh, Ahmed Musa, I'm sure it's because of that. That's his weaker foot. We analyze what politics. We analyze human beings that we elected. We analyze them like it's football. Like, we know why they did what they did.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody's doing whatever they're doing right now.
And that's exactly, that's where I want us to get to. I want us to get to the point where we wouldn't really give a damn why anybody's thinking how they're thinking or why they function. We would only care about whether or not they do what they are supposed to do, what we sent them there to do.
Yeah.
And there will be penalties for people who go there and not do what they are supposed to do. Then we'll straighten them. I don't know how we're going to straighten them. I'm not calling for treason. God forbid. I'm not calling for anything. But there's going to be penalties. Like, there will be penalties. Like, we're going to give you a scorecard, and we're not saying score average. There's no cutoff mark for this. We're sending you there because we know 100% is achievable. 100% is what we want. Because truly, we've been settling for less in this country for too long.
I asked in one of the episodes,
far too long.
Do we expect too little from these people?
I think we've been expecting too little for far too long.
We deserve more. We deserve better. We deserve brighter.
This is $1 billion. This is $1 billion. This is the same exact. This is the exact amount of money that took the former National Security Advisor to jail. I don't know if it's been released, but this is what took him to jail. This was $2 billion. Forget the amount; it's still in billions and it's dollars. It's foreign currency for crying out loud, and it's still missing funds for crying out loud.
£1 from government money that is missing.
It's still missing funds. Come and account for it.
Yeah.
I remember when the former chief of army staff got into his position, there were unchecked reports. People just neglected these reports that he has acquired some houses in Dubai. This was weeks into his administration. This was weeks into his appointment. Nothing was done.
We're seeing another.
And now we're seeing another thing.
Nothing is.
And you know what's bad about corruption that nobody talks about? It is the precedent that corruption sets. Corruption sets a very, very negative precedent that the next person that's coming is going to do worse than.
Yeah. And I believe they even inviting this guy. I don't think they intend for anything to come out from this. Because I will personally follow this thing up to see where it will end and wait and see if they are going to invite.
Of course, we're all going to follow it. We're going to follow it to see where it will end.
Let me see whether they will invite Buratai, even if it's to save face.
Like you even go far to tell me, will Donald Trump be wrong to put Nigeria in the blacklist? With all of these things that's going on, we have this amount of monies that are unaccounted for. And the person who was responsible for this amount of money, he's been made an ambassador.
Anyway, let's forge ahead, man. So the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, on Sunday called for a deep cut in the pay of political office holders in the country and for bigger and better pay for Nigerian judges to put them in a position where they can reject bribe offers from corrupt politicians and government officials trying to escape their corruption criminal trials. So I'm just going to read a bit from what SERAP said. They released a very long statement. So it asks for an urgent review upward. What does this mean? So it asks for an urgent upward remuneration review, allowances, conditions of service for Nigerian judges, and to review downward the remuneration and allowances of high-ranking political office holders in order to address the persistent poor treatment of judges and to improve access of victims of corruption to justice. It went on to say that the roles and functions performed by judges across the country are second to none in their importance, including in facilitating access of victims of corruption and human rights violations to justice and effective remedies. It also said that Nigerians would continue to be denied access to justice, to a better judiciary and a better administration of justice until judges across the country are paid what they deserve. So SERAP releases statements every Sunday. I think Sundays are their days for releasing either dragging somebody to court or releasing statements. So anyway, what SERAP basically is saying right now, they are calling for an upward review of allowances and salaries and benefits for the judges. They say Nigerian judges are very poorly paid compared to their counterparts in the rest of the world. And they are saying political office holders from the president, vice president, governors, and wherever, they need to reduce their pay. You know, then another argument they have for the increase of salaries and allowances for the judges is to reduce corruption, you know, because most times you saw when Buhari came into power, they had to go and raid some judges' houses for corruption. And we always hear during our kitchen table talks how judges receive bribes, you know, from criminals that stand in trials in their courts. But in this case, we're looking at corrupt politicians, you know, where they come and give these judges huge bribes for their cases to go away. Because most times we ask we say Buhari is fighting corruption, how many people have been convicted? We know there are many cases in court, but there are so many people that have not been convicted for corruption. So SERAP is saying right now, if the judges get better pay, you know, they will be more effective. They will not be prone to collect bribes because they will have enough that they don't need to take from these people anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm not trying to deviate, but I'm still on top. I'm still on topic. But I want to ask, which will be much more beneficial to Nigeria?
Yeah.
A better pay for judges or a better pay for the basic Nigerians, for like Nigerians, for the people?
No,
I'm coming to this judges thing, but I'm asking better pay for judges, because sometimes we wake up. I remember there was a time we had the same conversation with police. But even the policing seem a lot more reasonable. It seems much more reasonable. You know why?
The police are suffering.
You know why? Because the ratio of police to people, to a Nigerian citizen is like 1 to 50. 1 policeman to 50 Nigerian citizens. So that's a good ratio. But what I'm trying to say right now is, with judges, how often do we see judges? How often do we meet judges? How often do we see these people? We're talking about Nigerian problem here, and SERAP is supposed to be a civil society organization.
Trying to stop corruption.
No, we're still trying to stop corruption. So you're trying to tell me right now, you mean to tell me now that if you pay Danladi, you increase Danladi's pay, he will not address people as Biafran boys. He will not address people as Biafran boys. Or you mean to tell me that if you increase Danladi's pay, a person like Danladi, if you increase Danladi's pay, he will not take bribe.
Is not the yardstick.
He will not take bribe. I'm coming.
I understand where you're coming from, but he's not
when we want to, Danladi is not the yardstick for judges in Nigeria, but then for the judiciary in Nigeria. But I'll tell you something, that as a Nigerian, I've come to realize that wherever you are, you represent your ilk, you represent your kind,
body,
you represent your body. So you don't have to lick up a whole pot of soup to know that there's no Maggi inside. It is 1 spoon you take to know that there is no salt inside. Abi? So you test one person. So if Danladi is a bad judge, then that means all the judges have issues. I don't care, even if there's one as a pastor. You have an issue to have somebody like Danladi around you. So it's an issue for everybody. If I go outside this country right now and they catch
me your friends and I'll
thank you. If I go outside this country, in this case, Danladi is not even my friend. Yeah. If I go outside this country right now and somebody says, this Nigerian is into advanced fee fraud, they catch a Nigerian who is into advanced fee fraud, or if I were in Dubai when Hush Puppy was apprehended. What do you think? What does that? I mean, what does that actually? What does that? Where does that put me? It makes me corrupt. Yeah. Everybody says, keep your money away from him, or keep your accounts, your financial whatever away from him. Do you understand? So until we start looking at ourselves, or to start looking at ourselves as representatives of our body, or the bodies that we represent, that's when this country will become better. Now, back to what you're saying now. We tried this with police at some point. They said, in fact, we've even tried this with the common Nigerian, increasing the salary, which of course that's a different topic because a lot of people it wasn't even implemented, the minimum wage. But with the judges, SERAP saying this, if they're talking about corruption, I think to an extent, maybe SERAP is only talking about what affects them. Because I don't think, to the average Nigerian, I don't think the judiciary is one of our biggest problems. I don't think it's even our problem at this point.
No, but for corruption.
The judiciary,
stealing this money.
I want to ask you, do you think the judiciary is even independent in Nigeria? That's a big.
They're fighting for right now. They're trying to fight for that thorough independence for the judiciary right now.
Is it with conversations about their salary? So if you increase the salary, does that make them independent from the executive?
They're saying they will not take bribes anymore because they will have enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They're saying they will not take bribes anymore.
Yes.
For me, I don't even think it is. I think bribery is a problem for them, but I don't think the bribery is the connection. I don't think the bribery is the connection the judiciary have with the executive. I think the executive just basically sees the judiciary as subordinates. They see them like that, and the judiciary have come to perceive themselves as subordinates to the executive. That now they just accept whatever comes to them.
The why though? I'm thinking about the why. Why is that? Is it because of this same corruption?
I'm not.
If somebody
I'm coming. You are a lawyer. You know better. I asked the lawyer once about judges, how judges are being appointed, and he told me, in simple terms, he said judges are civil servants. And I was shocked.
But chief judges, when it comes to like chief judges of states and whatever, those are like political appointments.
Those are political appointments. But being a judge is civil service.
Yeah, but we still have
No.
Appointments of judges though still come with some corruption.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm trying to say, why will being a judge? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why would being a judge? Why would you, as a judge, be in the civil service? Why are you? We're expected, or we're supposedly operating three arms of government, the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, which ought to be independent bodies.
On the normal day.
So why would you call a judge a civil servant? Why would a judge be appointed by the president? Why would a judge be appointed by a governor?
They are under the Ministry of Justice.
And why would they be under the Ministry of Justice? These are things we need to look at and begin to understand that our constitution really, like people say, is a problem. It's a huge problem from the onset. Because look at all of this. They will never, if you call them, it's just like somebody working in DSS, for instance. Why do you think the president can pick up the phone and or a governor can pick up the phone and tell DSS to pick up somebody who has said something on TV or radio that he doesn't like? Because they're civil servants.
Under the federal government as well. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Everything is basically under the federal
government.
So
now, but DSS is security. Security in most countries, most developed countries, under the government. Yeah. But if the judiciary is an arm of the government, then it ought to be independent. So these are issues that they should be talking about. Constitutional amendments. Don't tell me about salary and no salary. These guys, the judges aren't enough. What are you telling me?
Determine that by themselves, you think?
They should determine that. And if SERAP tries to advocate for them or advocates better living standards for them, they should look at constitutional amendment at the same time. People should, when we talk about constitutional amendment, we should all talk about it with one voice, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to this. All these problems we're talking about is being straddled by constitutional amendments.
I mean, I just want to add
if the judge, I see the judges, I see every judge as a civil servant. So if a judge is a civil servant, I don't want to say mere civil servant. I don't want to use the word some people will use, but you know how denigrating they look at, how denigrating people get to be with regards to civil service.
Yeah.
So if they can look down on civil servants regularly, how do you think they will look at judges? Some people will go as far as saying, this common judge. Yes.
But judges are well taken care of, though. Judges actually do well. I was reading this statement by SERAP. Judges actually do well. They have security, they have nice allowances,
they have oddlies,
and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're understanding, asking for better pay for them. I think everybody deserves better pay.
Everybody deserves.
Everybody deserves.
This is what I'm talking about.
But another thing where I want to counter SERAP, why do you need to increase my fee to stop me from taking bribe? Yeah, because I think that should have to do with my conscience.
Exactly. That's like
with who I am as a person.
Some time ago.
Yeah, because I can still be poor and not take bribe.
You're making a lot of sense.
Integrity.
You're making a lot of sense now. Sometime in 2000, between 2012 and 2013, the Nigerian LNG, Nigerian liquefied natural gas, did something. I was in Port Harcourt then, and they did something because of the incessant kidnapping that was going on at the time. The office always had to pay ransom for their staff that got kidnapped. So what they said now was they were now going to start adding the kidnapping ransom to, it became a normal money. They started adding it to their salary. So if you're being paid, say, 900,000 naira per month, they would add an extra 500,000 naira to make it 1.4 million naira per month for kidnapping. In case you get kidnapped, you pay your own ransom. Oh yes, they started doing that. So basically, what I was able to deduce from what you just said right now is, if SERAP is saying they should increase their salaries for them to, as it means to avert bribery collection and all that, so that means it's like you're saying they should put the bribe in their salary. Just put the bribe there so they don't have to collect it from people.
Exactly.
That's absolutely preposterous. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I think where they were coming from, I think we actually agree with them is reduce the allowances of the government.
Oh, that's we've always talked about, but just like you rightly said, it's the same. You're asking somebody to reduce his own salary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That works. So let's look at it. Aside from there, I think their pays need to be cut. Some of these, we were arguing last week about newspaper allowances.
Public servants.
And these people don't read newspapers.
Yes.
Then you collect millions.
And the funny thing, the former administration attempted
the news online.
When we went into recession during the last administration, I think the president then tried doing something similar, something like that. And I remember some concerned Nigerians that said, it wasn't about the president's salary, but the politicians or political office holders' salaries, but their allowances, because the basic salary is just there. It's just small money.
The allowances, those newspaper allowances,
exactly,
wardrobe allowance,
food, chicken, lubricants.
Ridiculous, because those are the things that make the money is crazy. If you see the amount of money the president is supposed to use to travel, or the vice president, we're not even talking about Senate president or even governors.
And with the people,
we're wasting money in Nigeria.
The entourage, the people that travel with these politicians are so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Some of them don't even have any business traveling with
them. That takes me back to Governor El-Rufai's wherever. I think he could have cut down the running cost of his government.
Yes.
Rather than
firing people,
than going to fire those staff.
To fire people.
The running cost of the Kaduna State government house should have been cut down.
You know what this El-Rufai situation actually made me believe? It made me start thinking differently now. Like now, I feel just like we as Nigerians. First of all, we Nigerians, we see the politicians as part of us, but we see them as our problem. Now I see that the politicians do not, or the political office holders, they see, El-Rufai has just made me believe that they see Nigerians as not part of themselves. They don't see Nigerians as themselves, and they also see us as their problems, just like we see them as our problems. Oh yes, because that's what El-Rufai statements. That's actually what it demonstrates.
Consuming 90% of these allocations.
So you people are our problem, and you know what people do to their problems? People's problems are expendable. They're of no interest. Your problem, you could discard it anytime you want. So.
So let's go to our final topic. Do we address this topic or do we trash it? Anyway, let's just go. So the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, has been accused of having links with Boko Haram, al-qaeda, and other major international terrorist groups of the world. It was reported that the Nigerian minister has been placed on the United States of America watch list of terrorists. So the minister reacting to the allegations or the allegation, denied the allegations and threatened to sue the media outfits that published the report for defamation of his character, claiming to have been very outspoken against Boko Haram for many years. He tweeted, and I quote, your retraction, referring to the newspaper that broke the story. I think they did a retraction. He said, your retraction through your independent investigation has been noted. However, investigative journalism requires the investigation before publishing, not after. Further, major publishers will meet my lawyers in court on this defamation of character. He went on to say, my lectures against the doctrines and all other evil people have been available for 15 years, including debates that endangered my life against many criminals in Nigeria. If you cannot understand Hausa, get an objective Hausa speaker to translate for you objectively. So this is what the minister had to say reacting to the allegations. Then the presidency reacted as well and said that it was fake news. Of course, it came out to say it was fake news. Then the US Embassy in Nigeria also reacted because a lot of Nigerians were inquiring as to what's going on with this case. So they said, thank you for your inquiry. However, we defer all press inquiries on Minister Pantami to the FBI at npo@fbi.gov. Then, reacting as well, the Muslim rights concern, Murik, also defended the minister, describing him as an honest and diligent Islamic scholar and an indispensable asset to Nigeria. These people threw, the way they threw words, So Murik added, and I quote, we strongly suspect that those behind the fake news are jittery over the minister's revolutionary ideas, particularly the ongoing linkage of the NIN and SIM cards. This development is believed to be giving criminals sleepless nights, as it is capable of exposing their identities. This is fake news. He said this fake news is therefore an attempt to blackmail him, the minister, into stopping the revolutionary linkage of the NIM to SIM. Mr. Houston,
oh yes.
When you saw the report about the Minister of Communication, Mr. Dr. Pantami, being linked to Boko Haram, and
Is it doctor?
he's a doctor. He's addressed as Dr. Issa Pantami. Yeah. So being linked to Boko Haram and all these other terrorist groups in the world, what was your first thought? What did you think about at that moment when you saw the report?
The first thing I thought of was the first thing I thought of was how and why Nigerian public office holders see their position as a call to sentence rather than a call to service.
You said see what? Sorry.
They see their positions as a call to sentence or a sentence and not service. They see it more as sentence, not service. And I would like to use this platform to let a lot of Nigerian public service holders know that your positions, either political or appointment or whatever it is not a sentence. It is a call to service. Issa Pantami is a diligent man. I also believe, just like they said, I believe he's a diligent Islamic scholar and an indispensable asset to Nigeria.
You think he's
indispensable asset? Oh yes. I think Dr. Issa Pantami. Thank you for reminding me he's a doctor. I'll start addressing him like so from now. So I believe that Dr. Issa Pantami is a diligent Islamic scholar and an indispensable asset to Nigeria. But please, I think he should just do the needful and resign now. I have my reasons why I'm saying it. A video also surfaced on Twitter. People on Twitter have been saying funny stuff, like a video of him surfaced where he was making some funny chants and all that.
I haven't seen the video. I know many
stuff has been going on online.
The other evidence that
now, typically, I've never seen a situation like this that happened in Nigeria without where an allegation of such magnitude was put out there before a public office holder, and the person just said, "I'm not going to continue because of this, and I'll step down pending the investigation and the outcome of the investigation. I'll step down." I've never seen a situation like that. I think it would be very respectful.
There's just one, but it was not of this magnitude.
Okay.
That's the Minister of Finance, former Minister of Finance.
Oh, okay,
okay.
She did that to save her own skin.
Trained, though.
Yeah, so she had somewhere which has probably has a job where she's gone back to now. So
she resigned. That was the first and last.
Yeah, and yes, she's foreign trained and she understands the system. Exactly, so it's not a death sentence where you hold on to it, and because I believe the way they hold on to this position is part of the reason why corruption. It's part of the reasons why they see it like it's a do or die affair. They see it like their birthright. Mm-hmm. That's why they will never let go. Sometimes when there's so much conundrum around this thing, sometimes just let it be. We'll probably appoint an acting person to represent you and
at least pending investigation.
Yes.
Completion of the investigation.
Yes, because
you should even be the one to allow to call for investigation.
Because I understand that the allegations has been forwarded to the FBI. Mm-hmm. Now that's another that's a notch higher in the degree of whatever is happening. So if he does the needful and just resign from his position. Because a video of him also surfaced some years ago where he was talking about advising Islamic clerics not to take political office. So if Dr. Isa Pantami, steps down, he's not just doing it for himself, he's doing it on behalf of Nigerians. He's helping Nigeria as a country. Yeah. Is also bolstering his diligence in the eyes of people like me who see him as a respectful person. He's letting us know that, first of all, it's a service to Nigeria before his personal interest. And if such allegation is going to jeopardize his reputation, keep it aside first, while we, face the issue on ground. Yeah. So, that's what I think he should actually do.
Yes, but they perceiving it from their inner caucus, seeing it as fake news. These are attacks by criminals.
That is the thing.
Is that valid?
That is the thing. I told you earlier on that this administration has they've taken. I think they have a special department for damage control. There's always somebody coming out to defend the alleged. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. I said this administration has actually taught me. It's like I think they have a special department for damage control. There's always somebody coming out to defend the alleged, and whenever an allegation has been put forward against someone or towards someone or against someone in this particular administration, the person doesn't even come out to refute these claims. It's always some other person coming out to say, no, this is this, or a body coming out to do this.
The Murica report, and we mentioned the minister, and he was quick to retweet that, but he didn't retweet when we did the report of the allegation against him.
You see?
Yeah, so I saw that, and I'm like, okay.
So you see, there's always somebody coming out to do this, coming out to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes allow people defend themselves.
Exactly.
Allow people defend themselves.
Because you don't know anybody as much as they know themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Some people have done things, and you don't even know what they've done. You're coming out to say, I believe he's this, I believe it's a lie, I believe they're trying to do this to besmirch his image. See, as much as you believe in Dr. Isa Pantami Murik, that's as much as I believe in him. I know he's a man that has the interest of this country at heart. But this is a high-profile allegation, and I believe he's a very intelligent person who knows how to defend himself. Yeah. Everyone should just calm down first and let this man be.
And they say this is smoke without fire.
It is not everything that is a witch hunt. It is not everything that is a witch hunt. It is not everything that is a witch hunt. So I think Nigeria has to come to a point where political office holders should not see their positions as a sentence, and can, when situations like this come up, they should be able to step down first.
Do you think this has anything to do with the NIN and
no.
card linkage?
I don't think so.
Because this is what they're arguing right now.
I don't think so.
The criminals.
I don't think so. I don't think
because they're registering numbers right now.
No, I don't think so.
But just maybe.
I think so.
We should leave somewhere open there.
Actually,
yeah, maybe not.
So you think because he stopped registration of SIM cards and
No, because he started. They say he started this revolutionary thing. Now that's where they're arguing. That's what Murik was saying.
oh, okay,
They're saying
that's supposed to be, but that's supposed to be for the good.
linkage.
But that's supposed to be for the good of the nation.
Yeah, but they're saying the
Because
criminals
data-
right now are the ones they want to stop it. They are not in support of the NIN and SIM cards linkage because that will help in catching criminals. So they're arguing right now that it's those criminals that they're trying to dent the image of the minister because he started this link.
I haven't done any investigations. I haven't done any investigations with regards to that, so I wouldn't say.
Everything is still alleged, but like you said, I feel like in the normal society, when allegations, they are not even this weighty.
Yes.
Come on.
And you know why? I also need to put this out there. So in case the minister sees this and thinks we're actually antagonizing him. No, we're not. What I'm trying to say is it's also for his own functionality. It's for him to be able to function properly because when you throw these allegations, whether the minister agrees or not, it somehow sort of throws you off balance. As a decent person, somebody comes and bring out lots of indecency about you and starts to say things. It actually, one way or the other, it will affect your functionality and we will not want to see a situation like that. That's why we say it is only normal. It's expected that you resign or step down or take a break, take a leave.
Another question I want to pose to you. We talked about the fact that we have not seen a scenario except for Ade Oshun's case where a government official steps down when allegations like this come up. Because we have not seen something like that happen before, do you think the mind of the average Nigerian is developed to understand the effect of him stepping down or a government official stepping down when allegations like this come up? Will they understand that this means that I have integrity and I can back out for the investigation to begin and be concluded? Or do you think Nigerians will actually see him as guilty and convict him in the court of public opinion just by taking that move? Because I had to look at it from that place as well.
It's even
because you know the way we are as Nigerians.
Forget about
no. You have to think about
forget about how we think. Focus more on what we say because that's what you deal with in court. What people say now or their actions. Now you don't see anybody's thoughts. You can only assume that someone is thinking the way he's thinking, but you don't necessarily see the person's thoughts. So I would not want to dwell on that. This is the minister making a statement here. I believe if he's stepping down, he will also step down with a statement.
Okay.
So it's only normal that he makes a statement when he's stepping down or he's taking a break. I'm taking a leave of absence for so and so time, pending whenever this thing goes on. It is unbecoming of blah, blah, blah. Make that statement. He has people, experts
who
can
write
write
this. When you have the backing
this.
of the federal government even coming out to say that this is fake news, what do? So they are enabling as well. Because the presidency came out to say this is fake news, Murray comes out to say this is fake news.
Anyway,
so you stepping down, what are you stepping down for?
This is so far
when the government has said this is fake news.
There's been so many good things, like there's been so many nice things going on that happened this week, and so far this was going to spoil my week. This particular thing,
this one,
because I don't know personally. I think Issa Pantami's policies haven't been so bad, apart from the fact that there was a jailbreak 2 weeks ago, and everyone was calling on security personnel when someone like Issa Pantami could have actually done a lot. He could have actually done a lot. Like this was a time for him to work. I remember I always use Prison Break as my reference because that's a movie that was a big movie. In Prison Break, we all saw where their faces were all over everywhere. And now we have digital economy, we have the internet. You can put their face on it, even in Jumia adverts. Sorry to say, call any brand here, but you can also put their names out there, and adverts and ads. Put their faces and all that.
And you said they have this data.
Yes, and they have the data. Exactly. Every week now, recently they've been putting their names out, but they put them on sites. How many people will go to this site?
Do they put their pictures?
They put their pictures. Okay. Their pictures, their crime, everything. They put their whole data. It's out there. But how far has it gone? You've not even seen it. So I see because I surf the internet real good. That's why I get to see it. But they should be able to do this. That's what I expect for people like, from people like Issa Pantami. So I think he's a very intelligent person and he knows how to do the needful. So he knows how to go about it.
And I think this case is just going to die and nobody will care again.
Oh, for me, if the case dies or it leaves.
Except it's being pursued in America.
That is my problem now. My problem is why
because there's no case here, sir.
The reason, see,
going to die.
There's two reasons. There's two reasons why I'm saying the president should Sorry, not the president. Sorry, there's two reasons why I'm saying the minister should take a break. Firstly, for his own mental health or his own functionality. That's one. Secondly, I'm saying he should take a break because the gravity of these allegations. Someone might have just trumped up this allegation in his house, or I don't know. However, but the gravity of these allegations is not going to be taken lightly on Nigerians. On Nigerians. Do you understand? It was our poor data management was part of the reasons why Donald Trump actually blacklisted Nigeria. The Donald Trump administration blacklisted Nigeria. Now we're having such allegation, and what do you think they'll do to us again? Do you think Joe Biden will be wrong to blacklist Nigeria if we have a minister that's been accused of hobnobbing with terrorists, even if it's alleged, even if it's an allegation? What do you think? How do you think Joe Biden will see Nigeria? Do you think if he decides to take our name, like he took our name out the blacklist, what if he throws back our name inside there? Do you think he will be wrong to do that?
Yeah. So, like I said, we'll being the ones to suffer.
But exactly.
Yeah.
So it's for Nigerians too. I'm saying for himself and for Nigerians. That's why I'm saying he should take a break at least. So the minister has taken a leave of absence. Nobody's going to crucify him for that. It makes more sense. And later the minister is back. After everything, he's been acquitted. After he's been acquitted. Fine. I'm even going to be among the people carrying placard on the street shouting, my man is back, my man is back. Because I like young representatives, and he's a very young minister. So
anyway, so we have come to the end of today's episode. I wanted to say at the beginning that people should subscribe. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Houston, for making this happen today. So please subscribe. Join us next week. Subscribe to Page 36 TV on YouTube, okay? And like our video. Please share it as well. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.